Dragon Dreams, Book 2, Gaining Ground, written by Gina Virginia Casella. Story, Big Body Denied. I have a dream where I am upset about my body size. I cry to Polaris, who appears as a very large masculine military man. I cry and demand to know why I don't have big hands and feet like he does. Genuinely crying because I used to have big hands and feet, but don't anymore. Polaris tells me that I'm not allowed to have big hands and feet because I often make rash decisions without considering the risks, like volunteering for dangerous tasks. He says that I let my emotions control me, so I need to be more careful and think of my well-being. I also need to help people understand that true strength and courage are not defined by physical size. I ask him, how could I have bigger hands and feet? Polaris tells me physically and energetically we range in size. It's as if energetically I'm the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Meanwhile, everyone else is the size of a bunch of chipmunks. When I feel down about the size of my hands and feet, I need to remember that a T-Rex doesn't need big arms to be ferocious. Polaris explains the complex mathematical calculations comparing the body mass of chipmunk hands and feet to those of T-Rex. He has a lot of conversations with me, and each time, most of it goes over my head. Talking about one thing is truly talking about everything, so it's easy to get lost in metaphors and interconnectedness. His main point seems to be that T-Rex evolved to have shorter arms, since their ferocious nature meant that they did not need longer arms. I am ferocious in nature. I realize as Polaris says things about me, he's admitting things about himself that he doesn't like, and or has come to accept about himself. I'm surprised my guides have healing to do. In this moment, he reminds me that I'm him, and he came before me. So any high quality items he had are in me. He goes on to explain that as he heals his traumas, I reap the benefits of getting upgraded too. Then he explained that simultaneously, I came before him. So any high quality items he says comes from me. There's a continuum of this reciprocity as part of our alchemy. It's all part of the greater give and take and siphoning, shaping, and molding of each unfolding present moment, the ancient future and the now. To my surprise, the masculine Polaris nurtures me, holding me in his arms and rocking me gently. I cry. Polaris plays with my hands and feet. I feel confused, yet cared for as I watch him. It seems he inspects my limbs to remember what they have done, could have done, and could potentially do now if realizing these appendages make me special no matter my form, whether as a T-Rex, chipmunk, or any other. In my little girl form, I can tell Polaris feels odd to spend time with me like this. It was the same with Manus. It dawns on me that I am a future version of Polaris. I knew this, I just didn't really make the connection till now. When contemplating our future selves and our aspirations, Polaris never envisioned me as a 7-year-old girl, nor did he anticipate the actions that led to my undoing. Suddenly, I feel a sense of disappointment in myself, as if I have let him down, and all my former selves down. If my future self were to connect with me and uncover all the dreadful things about me, I would certainly not be impressed. A part of me yearns to appear before Polaris from the future and share all the exhilarating aspects of our lives. Whenever I see Polaris depicted as an impressive military figure, I wish I could present myself to him in a similar manner, in a form that he could take pride in and admire, a form that he could truly be proud of. His attention to my hands and feet playfully remind me of my uniqueness, regardless of the physical form I possess. We are all special. Polaris reassures me that despite my past actions that caused my downfall, there were also actions that contributed to my transformation. He emphasizes that even when I am silent, my innermost thoughts are perceived. Particularly, my energies are sensed and understood by my spiritual guides. Although we may spend hours together without speaking, we are deeply connected through nonverbal cues. Polaris asserts he's proud of me. Polaris emphasizes with my distress over my small feminine hands and feet, which I find traumatizing. He too used to have large hands and feet, but in adopting this main spirit form as the white ram, he now has hooves and a diminutive lower half, contrasting his substantial upper body. The relative smallness of his legs and hooves draws him to interact with my hands and feet. Though petite, I possess 2 hands and 2 feet, unlike his 4 hooves, and my opposable thumbs, symbolic of intelligence, allow me to perform intricate tasks. My hands are not just aesthetic, but functional tools. I realize that Polaris is a shapeshifter. Currently, he has taken the form of a large military man, but he can also transform into the white ram. Chuckling, Polaris adds that he can even take on my appearance, just as I can assume his. I remember him telling me I could morph into his form at any time, though I hadn't made the connection that doing so would mean shapeshifting myself. Polaris explains that shapeshifting is similar to the concept of true colors. It conceals identity. Once someone is discovered to be a shapeshifter, it becomes frowned upon. The best case scenario is for a shapeshifter to be open about their ability and consistently shift into just a few selected forms to build trust. This way, they are always recognizable to their community. Hiding your true form or your true colors implies one has something to hide. In communities where shapeshifting is common, people do not worry about hiding their true colors from one another because shapeshifters can sense each other's energies regardless of the form. A shapeshifting baby is not a threat, and there's no concern because the parents shapeshift with the baby. It's just like learning how to fly or ride a bike. Although I am a shapeshifter, I have yet to fully understand or utilize this ability to perceive energies. Despite having vague recollections and intuitions about it, Polaris informs me that I work with all communities, so I require a constant, non-threatening form, hence this little girl form. He also clarifies that shapeshifters can connect more easily with each other, unlike non-shapeshifters. With ease, shapeshifters are in dreams, thoughts, opinions, and feelings, and they take on all forms, not simply shapes. This entire universe may be one egregore of an alchemical shapeshifter. Polaris has generously shared an abundance of information with me, which prevents a challenge in keeping with pace. He strongly asserts that I struggle to keep up. And it's no problem, because if I struggle to keep up, it actually indicates that I'm doing just fine. It is crucial to bear in mind that these are dreams, specifically dragon dreams. We are delving into the realm of the creative mind and the theta state, while also incorporating the logical mind to make sense of partially remembered and partially misunderstood dreams. any content I publish on this subject may appear disjointed and occasionally contradictory. However, this is precisely how dreams operate, as well as the exploration of the mind. Therefore, I should absorb everything and have faith that I will grasp what I need to know. It is not about recollection, but rather about understanding. Recall is never the focus. Knowing is. One key point he stressed is that not everyone is aware of their shapeshifting abilities. In the past, it was believed that only shapeshifters could give birth to shapeshifters. This belief stemmed from the assumption that all communities were similar to the shapeshifting community. Shapeshifting comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages. Nowadays, shapeshifting is considered a genetic inheritance that is present from birth, forming part of one's identity and pre-birth existence. However, individuals must awaken to their abilities to activate them. Like any remodeling, shape-shifting communities shape-shifted with fluidity, so the children were naturally attuned to it. Meanwhile, if no one ever role modeled the reflection, their potential, they never would know, or they might feel weird about themselves, or they could even activate themselves in a dangerous way without mentorship. Some individuals consciously activate their shape-shifting abilities, while others do so unknowingly. Some individuals severely abuse others just to see if they can get them to activate any gifts. So there's much protection and healthy secrecy about such phenomena like shapeshifters. Polaris tells me he enjoys conversations about such things with the Gnome King. The Gnome King makes everything seem so simple because he's good at seeing things as omnipresent and beyond categories. It's possible that shapeshifters are the elementals as we know it, manifesting into a form we can walk and talk with, or perhaps a form that inconspicuously observes us. It's possible shapeshifting is a feminine energy because shifting has to do with alchemy and all the natural cycles. In today's world, there is a mix of lineages, and shapeshifting can be viewed as a reflection of this diversity. Shapeshifters are actively engaged in supporting and mentoring one another, promoting a healthy community. We all have extrasensory abilities, and this is just another one of them. What is interesting is that there's nothing extra in extrasensory abilities. We all have them. It's like the snake constellation. We no longer include it in our 13-month calendar, yet it's still very much up there in the sky. Polaris goes on a bit. It's kind of like he's going on a bit of a tangent with mathematics, concluding everything is 100%. So there is no extra percent, no extrasensory abilities, just abilities vary among us. Although I can shapeshift, Polaris explains that God has placed limitations on my abilities as part of my remaking. Polaris says God anticipated my cleverness and ability to make connections. So these limits were part of God's bargain when the females inquired about me being unmade and remade. To recap, I can shapeshift into the sky and cause deadly storms, but I cannot transform into a full-size large masculine human. My creative thoughts make others uncomfortable about me. For instance, I could shapeshift into an elephant, stomping people, or I might become a shark or snake, devouring folks without man hands. My little girl hands could poison someone, or I could cut their car brakes. Polaris laughs profoundly at my intelligence, a mix of history's finest carried forward, including Polaris's contributions like intellect, Polaris affirms the correctness, yet acknowledges the philosophical inconsistency. My crimes committed as a masculine human overshadowed God and the women's consideration of my storm transformational potential. Polaris believes the masculine community should have been included in this bargaining situation. Yet he tells me I insisted not, as this bargaining was the first step to surrendering to rebuilding trust with the feminine. My actions created an environment that was unwelcoming to all men, as the harm I caused led women to feel uncomfortable around masculine people. This also caused most men to feel uneasy around other men. He says forms can function like weapons. An image of a butterfly comes to mind. Its wings have large circles, like an owl's eyes, that when exposed, scares off predators. However, God and the females did away with my large hands and feet, as if eliminating weapons, though they failed to recognize I could find a new weapon. Blair seems annoyed that he wasn't part of the conversation when I was unmade and remade. He states we all have sacred weapons, the head and the heart, that can be poisoned and must stay balanced. The head and the heart need to be in harmony. The heart always wins, and that's the concern about me, because I'm ruled by the heart. Polaris and I have an engaging conversation about spirit animals. He tells me that in the dream state, unlike waking life, I can safely interact with wild animals, even playing and cuddling with them. I can take their form and even merge forms with them. Polaris explains that all shapeshifters can do this. And many, they do so in waking life and in dreams, but not me. I just do it in dreams. These conversations really get me thinking. Just when I think they make sense, they don't make sense. Rather than try to become a hulking giant man, I could transform into a jaguar or bear. Blair's humorously promotes four-legged animals like himself with hooves. That's just it. And I start crying. Creatures with hooves or paws lack the ability of those with hands. Though I could become a giant mountain, I'd have no hands or feet. Polaris invites me to be the sky. If I wish, I can be anything except a masculine human. It draws on him I could shapeshift into a masculine gorilla or chimpanzee, but it's not the same as being a masculine human. Polaris reminds me that raccoons have thumbs, but again, that's not the same thing. That's just it. Forms are things. So we shouldn't get hung up on what type of body we have, since we're all made of the same earthly materials. Polaris speaks to me about advanced mathematics that I do not comprehend, insisting I should understand these unfamiliar concepts, formulas, and numbers. He reassures me that he and Manus are my guides and can now help me with academics and finances in both my dreaming and waking life, as the two are merging. Polaris reminds me that this unmaking and remaking of myself was my idea, and that I'm a guinea pig in this process. The next folks to be unmade will have their memories completely wiped clean and will be remade and embedded into the elementals. Polaris says it's exciting yet terrifying to see how I unfold, as the whole universe is folded up inside me. So my life and dreams represent the unfolding of the universe. It's confusing for me as a 7-year-old girl to think about growing up, yet I find myself already grown up and a blank slate in some ways, though not entirely blank, as I still carry memories. In my waking life, I often wished I was a larger man because I felt scared. Taking a bus in the dark, for example, I felt vulnerable as a 5'5", 150-pound woman wearing sizes 7 to 8 shoes and medium-sized gloves. I realize I will never have the physique of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Accepting myself as I am has been a struggle. As absurd as I feel, I cry. I cry because I'm age 7 and I won't be growing up. I won't grow up to be a big, strong man. This waking life is my life as my current female self, Gina, though my soul has experienced past lives on Earth in 2 previous female bodies. Eric Council of 9 reveals to me a year later that this waking life represents my 3rd time incarnating as a female form since my soul's journey began. Making these connections now, I feel a sense of wholeness about embracing all aspects of my feminine identity across my soul's experiences. I also feel hopeful to learn and embody all the positive masculine traits I had from past lives. Polaris is patient with me as we have this conversation over and over again. Each time it's like the first time all over again. And each time we have it, we jump around and go back to concepts. And sometimes we don't go back. Again, if you're having a hard time following along, see it as a compliment. Polaris knows in my waking life, I enjoy sexy dancing as a way to stay fit. He encourages me to keep at it since it's good for my health, and it helps me embrace my feminine side, which I've struggled with. Polaris suggests that if I can handle the dance moves, I could transition them into martial arts and become a sexy martial arts dancer. Rather than fans or other such props, I'd have weapons like a sword. I could learn the art of war. He says if I focus on balance and channeling energy through my dancing, I won't even need external weapons. Martial arts is great for training the head and the heart. It's all about discipline, healthy lifestyle, and defending oneself. Defense is an art, as it's all about prevention. With practice, I can turn my entire being into ultimate tool. Polaris has a military background and training in combat. Combat, like unmaking, is not to be taken lightly. There's an art to it, and it comes with great reverence and responsibility. People with large hands and feet or muscular physique resembling Arnold Schwarzenegger are often stereotyped as aggressive and pressured into violent roles and or physically demanding roles. Polaris assures me he's trained many women and men who have tiny little bodies and dainty feet. He's even trained children of all kinds of species and backgrounds. Polaris asserts that many things, in this moment, he asserts that emotional intelligence is a tool and can be used as a lethal weapon. Abusing the mind is much worse than abusing the body, because even if the body is killed and void, it will decompose, yet the mind will live on through consciousness. Moreover, rather than use guns, for example, we could use mind power to simply have the opposition walk themselves into the deep ocean until they drown themselves. You see, we can't simply think of violence as these big, loud experiences. One of the first lessons Polaris teaches in his combat training is that terrorists and freedom fighters are the same folks. There is no opposition. Unless someone is programmed or ill and in a state of killing you, Polaris does not support killing, for killing is a self-defense thing. Polaris reiterates how immature violence is, and to keep that in mind when someone is being violent with you. It means that they're being immature with you. So it doesn't matter if they're a big, strong man or if they're being violent, they're being immature. And that's what's concerning, the level of immaturity crossed with a lack of mentorship. Polaris tells me we belong to the great galactic navy and not the guns type. He tells me we talk about it a lot and I ask a lot of questions about the type exactly. Polaris tells me we're the social emotional learning type. Folks used to laugh at us, but no one is laughing now. How you think and feel matters. Thoughts, feelings, opinions, and personal security are prioritized. My mind floods with images of Venn diagrams. Polaris tells me there are many Venn diagrams seeking connections. We could use mind power to control a giant catfish to swallow up someone we don't like, and then we could blame it on nature. And in the case of shapeshifters, they could become that very catfish at will or by control against their will. So many Venn diagrams process and reprocess connections, alchemizing the information. The Venn diagrams reveal to us that our openness is strengthened by an ongoing interconnectedness. This indicates that even though something may seem unrelated or far-fetched, we discover through these Venn diagram exercises that everything is interconnected, just like us. It's all about fragmentation. Polaris shows me some Venn diagrams reflective of me. My hands are small and blocky, reflecting my deep connection to the land and its animals. Just like a wolverine's paws tunnel to build a den or tree roots. My hands represent moving earth, not violence. The blocky shape connects to creatures that burrow and build, and to my own history using my hands in soil and water to forge my path. Though not made for fine work, my hands bind me to the natural world. Though I enjoy arts and crafts, I have always struggled with fine motor skills. My handwriting is poor, and I find it physically challenging just to hold a pen. I need to use a thick pen, thick pencil crayons, or add a padding to make writing more comfortable to my writing tool. This difficulty with detailed handiwork indicates that my talents are better suited to intellectual and emotional expression, using my mind, my heart, and my voice to communicate rather than my hands. I am meant to forge my own path in life according to my natural ways of knowing. Despite the damage I did with my once large masculine hands and feet, this connection with nature is another reason I am the way I am. He says a lot more about rivers of time and connections to sea and sky through tree roots and treetops, but it all goes over my head. And like a picture is worth 1,000 words, that's what these dragon dreams are like. And Polaris reminds me that physical stature does not dictate inner strength. My dance teacher, although petite, grabs the pole with fierce power that comes from the core. This example shows me that cultivating my inner strength, courage, and resiliency are more important than my outer appearance. Polaris advises that if I stay true to myself, kindred spirits will find me. I asked Polaris to be present in my waking life because I could really use his guidance and support at this time. He gave me the image of a tree with the words balance on the trunk. Keep me open spiritually on the branches and ground me biologically on the roots. I feel Polaris hugging me as we hold each other. He rocks me as I fall asleep, feeling hopeful, listened to, and inspired. I can call on Polaris at any time, yet he sometimes uses Toby's image as the truth, like in this moment. The trees are the keys to connecting my dream life with my waking life. There's much to say about healing with the land, bridges, and trees. Moreover, in my waking life, it's easier to imagine working with spirits using the trees around me. Polaris chuckles and provides me with an image of my waking life neighborhood full of white rams walking and standing around in place of trees. In this image, Toby looks out his condo window with a confused expression, rubbing his eyes. It's very funny. Polaris and Toby are one with me. We're just fragmented. Same with Manus and Amanda. Polaris tells me the tops of the evergreens represent his horns, reminding me to keep focused. In conclusion, to build trust, it is the best that I can do to remain physically in the 7-year-old form. I can shapeshift into anything at any time, but non-shapeshifters cannot detect that ability. Therefore, to gain their trust, I should present my true self to them in this way. Other aspects of me merge with my being. For simplicity's sake, when I actually unmake someone, I take on Glinda the Good Witch's form, the visual cue of my intentions, since not everyone can read energy or shapeshift. As Polaris describes it, forms are like clothing fitted to the task at hand. I must present myself physically to clearly convey my intentions to all. Moreover, some hold the false belief that small stature means powerlessness. By staying in this child form, which is far from powerless, I demonstrate changing perspective.